We've got Kenny, who's behind the Safe Grassroots Football. Good evening, Kenny. Good evening, Kenny.
Good evening.
Thanks very much for joining us. I mean, obviously, we took notice of the fact that you're after a number of signatures. Tell us a bit behind that and how people can get involved and the reasons behind this campaign.
Yeah, the reason behind the campaign was over nearly 16 months ago in a town outside Liverpool called Sefton, Borough Council. We're looking to increase kids' pitch fees from mini soccer pitches from £150 to £600 a year. The big pitches, the 11-a-side pitches, were for £450 to £1,350. I spoke to the council, and the reaction from the council, who was I didn't live in Sefton, it had nothing to do with me, which I turned around and said, well, as far as I'm concerned, it's grassroots football and I will be doing something about it. I had 3 weeks to do something about it because the consultation, was ended. So basically what I did, I spoke to many, many leagues, teams. I went to meetings nearly every night. And within the space of 3 weeks, I'd done something which I still regret to this day. I got 10,000 kids not participating in football due to the increase in pitch fees. Well, I was told by my local county FA it wouldn't work, you wouldn't get any publicity, you're not going to stop it. Well, 3 days later, Sefton Borough Council, first time in 100 years, ripped the consultation documents up, and then boys are still playing for exactly the same money they were 14 months ago. So we set the e-petition up because theoretically this was happening up and down the country. The increase in pitch fees from councils onto teams and clubs was killing teams. So I spoke to David Crausby MP first and foremost, and we put the first e-petition together, and I said I'd do all the work. Well, a one-man band got 30,600 signatures on an e-petition. People were ringing me up, and when it finished in February. Are you disappointed? How can a one-man band be disappointed? 30,000. So I spoke to David again, and we've gone again, and in the space of 3 months, we're nearly touching 16,000 signatures again. As everybody keeps telling me, every day you pick a paper up, every time you listen to other radio stations, you're seeing grassroots football, investments. This hasn't just come on overnight. This has been down to the campaign.
Kenny, obviously, we made the point that billions of pounds are being pumped into the football in general, in the Premiership especially. And am I right in saying that is it 7.5% that's been designated for grassroots football, or is that what you want?
Back in 1999, it was agreed in a task force agreement that the Premier League would contribute 5% of its revenue back into grassroots football. Now, there's been no one there to fight the cause. Theoretically, since 1999 and to this present date, the Premier League have never contributed 5%. It's only ever been 1% and less. I think the present deal works out to 0.74 because there's been no one there to fight our cause. And even 3 years ago, and I've got a letter which was sent to me by Mr. Scudamore, the FA, the government and the Premier League were all contributing £20 million a year into the Football Foundation. Without anybody knowing, the three of them reduced that to 12 million. So theoretically, £24 million a year in the last 3 years has come out of grassroots football without anybody, batted an eye. And now we've got the likes of Mr. Dyke coming out on last Friday saying that, we're going to be putting another 230 million into grassroots football. Hang on, Mr. Dyke hasn't got that money. Mr. Dyke has to go out and get sponsors for that, to pay for these new 3Gs and these hubs. Well, as far as I'm concerned, a brand like England at the moment, we haven't won anything since 1966. We're losing kids and adults out of the game rapidly. Last year was 100,000 walked away from football. Who was going to sponsor England? We're going to have massive, massive problems. So the only people who have got the money is the Premier League. Every football player started off in grassroots football. What we're saying now, grassroots football is in crisis. The pitches haven't changed for 30, 40 years. The facilities haven't changed. And we're having more and more kids walking away from grassroots football as early. And I know for a fact some kids walked away at under 7s last year and under 8s.
Now, it's also fair to say, Kenny, that you look for a number of signatures. The last time I looked at it, it may have gone up. You've got 15,797 signatures in the last, sort of up till midday today. That might have increased. What is that part of, Kenny? And is that sort of backbench business committee that will need a certain amount of signatures to carry on the debate? Is that exactly what it is?
1,000 signatures, and believe you me, we will get the 100,000. Behind the scenes, I'm working, I've got a job, I've got to earn some money from somewhere. Everything I've put into this is out my own money. I coach, I've just come in from coaching under 7s and under 8s tonight. I coach tomorrow. I'm out Saturday at 8 o'clock in the morning till 1 o'clock, same on a Sunday. This is all free of charge, and I'm not the only one. There's 600,000 volunteers. And that's why I'm turning around and saying, we will get 100,000 signatures. We will get a debate in Parliament. Listen, every one of them MPs out there will vote to get more money put into grassroots football for the simple reason they've got constituencies who have got grassroots football in, non-league football in, that need help. At the end of the day, a game of football, which should, for me, certainly in grassroots, should cost nothing or a minimum amount of fee, is pricing kids out of football who can't go training because the AstroTurf is £3 or £4 on a Tuesday and Thursday night. It's a shame. Every Premiership player, as I said, has a duty to contribute some money back into grassroots football. And believe you me, they have been warned off this. There is not one Premiership player supported this campaign. When you've got some of the people that I've got on this campaign, the past players, your Michael Letizier's, your Peter Reeds and managers Roy Evans and Trevor Stevens and Kevin Campbell, and I can go on and on and on. They understand. They're the old people. The Premier League have told Premiership clubs and players not to support this campaign. It is a disgrace.
Okay, any questions to Jonathan?
That's greatly concerning here that Premier League telling players not to support this campaign.
Yep.
Any questions to?
Yeah, for you play like Vardy, plays for Leicester City. When he was released by Sheffield Wednesday, he was playing like non-league football, and he would have started out as grassy football. All the great players, because I'm from London, obviously, Hackney Marshes.
Yeah, Hackney Marsh.
Great players, from like Venables, Greaves, all played at Hackney Marshes. Players like that, they're the ones who became world stars for this country. We need more young players come through. And you say that players are giving up at 7 years age. It's shocking.
It's also the fact, as you say, that you're paying for pitches where you never. I mean, we grew up where you play a game and you wouldn't be expected to pay when so much money is being pumped into the top end of the market is a scandal. And you're doing a great job, Kenny. How do people get involved in signing up? What give us the website link so people can sign up, Kenny.
It's the Twitter. The Twitter is Save Grassroots on Twitter. The Facebook, and you can see all the people supporting it on the Facebook, is Save Grassroots Football. And I would urge anybody who's listening in tonight, we need this to happen. But you know what? If it doesn't happen, I'll just go again, and it'll be a third one. And if I don't get it then, I'll go for a fourth one, because I keep turning around and saying, I'm a past player. I played at Liverpool Reserves. I played in Germany, I played in Finland, I played in Hungary. But what I will tell you, since I was 16 years of age, when I started coaching, to I'm 52 now, I have never taken a penny for any coaching session I have ever done. And I will not, because I do believe one of the things that should be free in life, and certainly coming from one of 8 when I was a child, was football. And it kept me out of trouble, kept me in a team, and kept me out of gangs. And that's what the 600,000 volunteers do every Saturday and Sunday with their free time and free money. We have been abused by this FA, and something needs to be done by the FA, Premier League, government and councils.
Yusuf?
I just wanted to ask those that want to get involved to kind of volunteer a bit of their time and help the cause, what would they need to do to kind of
get involved, basically.
Just need signatures. You know, there's thousands and thousands of teams and clubs out there. You know, I'll tell you, you know, last year I sent 51 emails out to every county FA as a separate governing body from the Premier League, who were asking for 375 million of the £5 billion deal. Could you please help me by putting the e-petition link on your web pages so that all your teams and leagues could sign up? Do you know how many replies I got from that? And this is someone who's been coaching since 16, over 36 years. How many replies did I get from the county FA? Not one. It is sad. And this is what we're doing. I keep turning around and saying, people turn around and say about the FA, the suits and things like that, the county FAs are the same. Well, you know what? I'm not prepared to give any more of my time and my own money and people up and down the country doing exactly the same when there's billions and billions of pounds swirling around in football at the moment.
I think it's well said, Kenny, and hopefully this will generate even more people signing up for that. Thanks very much indeed, Kenny.
Take care.
Thanks very much.
Cheers.
I mean, it's a valid point here. I mean, we talk about the times where when I remember playing Sunday League football and didn't pay anything, and then towards the end of my playing career, which was about 10 years ago, it started having to pay and it become more and more, and people just don't want to pitch up and pay a fiver each to play a game of football.
I think it's disgraceful. I think, and it's definitely at the end of the day, a country like this where we're struggling, you know, like.
We're not struggling at the top end. It's like, you know, any other sport. Let's look at the look in charge. Let's look after the people at the top. Let's look after them. Let's let them cream the top.
You know what it is? They assume that what they're trying to say is football's only for the elite. Like me and you, if we want a game of football, we can't play it. Just because we're not at professional level, we can't
pay a fiver.
Yeah, unless we pay. It's ridiculous.
More than that.
Yeah, usually pay.
Is it
with
really?
the new 3G pitches, like down at these goal centres and stuff like that. Like, if you want to play competitively in a league, you are looking at a minimum of about £60 per game per team. And if you've only got 5 that turn up for your 5-a-side, you're looking at more than a tenner each, and it's for less than an hour of football. And
it does get pricey.
Why I stopped, because paying £50 a month to play less than 4 hours of football.
Well, you see with the AstroTurf pitches, don't you? In terms of pitch up, you've got to pay a certain amount for the hour and stuff like that.
Yeah, you do. And the prices are going up, and it's getting a bit expensive to actually just play regular football.
Any comments on Twitter?
Yes, there's quite a few actually. People are quite passionate about this subject. We've got Blasco who says, we share a passion for football, but nothing's being done to save a sport that we claim to have started. He's also said that we've only just jumped on the bandwagon now after seeing results from other winning nations, and that support for grassroots football should have begun ages ago.
I think England's in a dangerous place.
We're going to talk more politics after the break. Supporter ownership, engagement, fans' presentation. We're going to talk about after this break.
I spoke to the council, and the reaction from the council, who was I? I didn't live in Sefton. It had nothing to do with me. Which I turned around and said, well, as far as I'm concerned, you know, it's grassroots football and I will be doing something about it. I had 3 weeks to do something about it because the consultation, you know, was ended. So basically what I did, I spoke to many, many leagues, teams. I went to meetings nearly every night. And within the space of 3 weeks, I'd done something which I still regret to this day. I got 10,000 kids not participating.
So the fact that you're after a number of signatures, tell us a bit behind that and how people can get involved and the reasons behind this campaign.
Yeah, the reason behind the campaign was over nearly 16 months ago in a town outside Liverpool called Sefton. Borough Council were looking to increase kids' pitch fees from mini soccer pitches from £150 to £600 a year. The big pitches, the 11-a-side pitches, were for £450 to £1,350.
We've got Kenny, who's behind the Safe Grassroots Football. Good evening, Kenny. Good evening, Kenny.
Good evening.
Thanks very much for joining us. I mean, obviously, we took note